Representative Buddy Carter serves the state of Georgia. He's a member of the Budget Committee, also the Energy and Commerce Committee, and one of those people yesterday who voted to support then Speaker McCarthy. Representative Carter, good morning.
Good morning.
Why did you make that vote?
Well, I think Kevin McCarthy's done a great job as our Speaker. I think he's shown outstanding leadership. It's very unfortunate that that this has happened. This is a sad day for America. It's a sad day for our conference. It's a sad day for the constituents in my district. This is historic. There's no question about it. But at the same time, we've got to be realistic here. The real winners yesterday were the Democrats, and they were the ones who won. Our party lost, and we lost a great leader, and we also lost, unfortunately, a prolific fundraiser. So we've got to rally around. We've still got a great conference. We've got great leaders in our conference, and we'll get another speaker. And I think we've got a lot of talent. So I look forward to us. Regrouping and coming out even stronger.
If this was spearheaded by a Republican and 7 other Republicans joined in support, why do you pay your attention to the Democrats?
Well, they voted with the Democrats. I mean, these 8 people who voted to vacate the chair voted with the Democrats, and they were the winners. We were the losers. But, we've just got to get the train back on the track, and we will. We will. We're right on policy, and that's the key. And with all due respect, these 8, whatever their reasons may have been, one of the reasons they keep pointing to is our fiscal sanity here in Washington, D.C., and I could not agree with them more. That is something that we have got to get attention to. We've got to get our arms around this. If we don't, then we're going to lose our country. And I don't say that just flippantly. I mean that. We have got to get this budget under control. We've got to stop this deficit spending. We've got to address our $33 trillion in debt. I'll just give you an example. The number one responsibility of the federal government is to protect our homeland. We can only do that through a strong defense. Next fiscal year, we will spend more on the interest on our debt than we will on defense. That's inexcusable, and that's got to stop. We've got to stop running these $2 trillion budget deficits every year and adding to our debt. We've got to get back to a responsible budget, and I'm very proud of the work that we've done in the Budget Committee, and we've actually passed out of committee a 10-year budget that will give us a balanced budget and actually will save trillions of dollars over that period of time, over $16 trillion. Not only that, but it will bring us to a positive state of over $130 billion if we follow this plan that we have passed through the Budget Committee.
Our guests with us until 10 o'clock, 202-748-8001 for Republicans, 202-748-8000 for Democrats, Independents, 202-748-8002. Text us at 202-748-8003. Representative Carter, it was Representative Gates yesterday who criticized Speaker McCarthy for not going and focusing on single-issue bills, the effort on the CR, the effort to cut spending. Are those legitimate criticisms? Well,
in my opinion, they're not. However, I would submit to you that we have done more in the way of addressing single subject bills and addressing the appropriations process than any other time in the 9 years that I've been a member of this august body. It's very unfortunate. I get the frustration, and yes, I would have liked to have seen us have the appropriation bills done before now, but we are where we are, and the only thing we can do is to do the best we can to catch up. We're behind already. That's why we had to pass the CR, the 45-day CR that gives us more time. But what was offered before, I think, is extremely important. What was voted down was a CR that included spending cuts. That's something we have never done before. We've never had a CR that included spending cuts. We had an opportunity to do that. We had an opportunity to address what I consider to be one of the top issues in our country right now, and that is the southern border. We have got to secure that border. We had H.R. 2 as a part of what we had the opportunity to pass. That did not pass. And then the Speaker, at the approval of the majority, of the vast majority of our conference, agreed to put a clean CR with the FAA reauthorization and with funding for FEMA and for natural disasters on the floor, and that passed.
Sir, there was a Republican conference committee meeting yesterday to talk about the next steps. What came out of that concerning the next Speaker of the House?
Well, we did have a meeting last night after the chair was vacated, after the Speaker's position was vacated, and our Speaker Pro Tem, Patrick McHenry, told us that next Tuesday night we'll be back and we'll have presentations from those who are interested in running for Speaker, and that on Wednesday we'll vote for a new Speaker.
Has anybody volunteered or stepped up to make a presentation?
Well, obviously, we're in Washington, D.C. There are rumors and rumors of rumors. But, yeah, there are people who are putting their name out there. There's no question about that. And again, I would submit to you that we've got strong leaders in our conference, and I'm very confident that we're going to be able to get a good speaker. I had said before that I would not vote for anyone whose name was not McCarthy. But now that Kevin has taken his name out of the hat, then, I'm certainly going into it with an open mind.
Do you think someone like Representative Steve Scalise, who worked alongside with McCarthy, has a chance, or someone like Jim Jordan, who supported him as well?
I think Steve Scalise would be an excellent speaker. There's no question about that. Obviously has the experience. All of us are concerned about his health, but Steve Scalise is obviously could step right into the role, and we wouldn't miss a beat. I think he would be a great speaker. Jim Jordan would be a good speaker. There's no question in my mind about that. That's why I say we've got outstanding talent in our conference. So. I'm very confident that we're going to get a great leader, and that we're going to move forward, and we're going to move forward with the policies that I believe are the best policies for our country.
To what degree, then, the next speaker has to gain the support primarily of, say, Representative Gates and those who agreed with him to oust Speaker McCarthy?
Well, not so quick now, because let's make one thing clear. There are going to have to be some rule changes. And I was in the gym this morning, and I will tell you that is something that a lot of people are concerned about. The rule changes are something that are going to happen. For 8 people to be able to tell 208 other people what they're going to do, there's something wrong with that picture. And there's no question that some of the 8, and look, I can't look into their heart. I can't tell you what their intentions were, but it was pretty obvious with some of them. It was personal, and that's very, very unfortunate.
Representative Buddy Carter joining us for this conversation. Brent in Michigan, Democrats line, you're first up with our guests. Go ahead, please.
Okay, you Republican hypocrites. You continually tell the lie that tax cuts increase revenue. And the only budget surplus was the one that Clinton handed to Bush at the end of his administration. And what did Bush do with that? He wasted it on an unnecessary war in Iraq, on false premises of weapons of mass destruction that were never found. Now, you Republicans don't give squat about spending money when a Republican president is in power. Trump increased the debt by almost $8 trillion. That didn't bother you. It didn't bother you when he was sending out checks to increase inflation during COVID that he sincerely wanted his name on, right?
Okay, but do you have a specific question for our guest caller, or have you made the point?
Well, okay. Specific question. Do you think that will you still repeat the lie that tax cuts increase revenue?
Okay, thanks, Brett.
Look, obviously we disagree. The caller and I disagree. You only have to look at the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that we passed while we were in the majority under Kevin Brady and the Ways and Means Committee that came out of that. That resulted in an increase in our economy, an increase in our revenue. That's just the type of injection that we needed into our economy. This Bidenomics is not working. I will tell you, the people in my district, the people in the state of Georgia, they're hurting. Our governor had to suspend our gas tax because inflation is so high right now. People are the basics, the core staples that people depend on, gas and petroleum and food, all of that has increased in price under this administration. So I beg to differ. Look, I will acknowledge that our debt is as much due, and some of that has to be the responsibility of Republicans as well. Republicans have spent too much. Democrats have spent way too much. But we have got to get this under control. If we don't get some kind of fiscal sanity, our country is not going to be able to sustain.
From Tim, who joins us from Florida, Republican line. Hi.
Hello. Thank you, Congressman Carter. I just want to say that it's really unfortunate that Speaker McCarthy was removed, because he has been, to me, one of the greatest speakers in recent years. He's done a great job. He was able to do bipartisan things. And what strikes me is how the Democrats would not one or two people would be independent enough to oppose removal. And they act as if it's the Politburo to me. And that needs to be brought home again and again, how the Democrats have no independence, whereas the Republicans, a group of renegades, are able to overthrow a speaker. And my question would be, who do you think would be the best person to be the speaker? And I'll let you answer. Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you for what I think is a very astute point. You are absolutely right. In fact, I was commenting earlier today to one of my staff members about, you really got to admire the Democrats. They keep them in line. Yesterday, during the debate of the motion to vacate, the speakers on our side were making all kind of comments about Democratic policies and spending, and yet the Democrats just sat there and didn't respond. Usually there would be jeering and that type of thing, but yesterday they didn't. They were very disciplined, and they let this process play out. But to your question about who do I think personally would make great speakers, again, I think we've got a deep bench in our conference. The two names that have been mentioned this morning on this show have been Steve Scalise and Jim Jordan. I think both of those would be outstanding choices for speaker. And then we have others. Tom Emmer is obviously would do an outstanding job. They're just the list goes on and on of outstanding leaders that we have within our conference who I think could step up and handle this job.
From Miami. Let's go to June. June is in California. June is California Independent Line. Hi.
Hi. My name is June, and I'm actually a Republican, but I couldn't get through on that line.
Okay, but let me stop you there only because we ask our folks to call in on the right line to make sure that everybody gets a chance to do so. But our next call, Congressman, someone who I believe comes from your district in Jessup, Georgia. This is LaJuan, Democrats line. Go ahead.
Mr. Carter, you supported McCarthy. McCarthy had no respect for nobody because he didn't keep his word to nobody. But that ain't my question. My question to you is, you are supposed to be a pharmacist, and you are supposed to know about medicine. Why is it that you have not put anything concerning medicine, tried to get the prices down, other than up there trying to get some scheme about what is it? You pushing about taxes. You supposed to know about medicine and prescriptions. Why didn't you try to get the price of drugs down? That's my question to you, sir.
Okay, thanks, caller.
Well, obviously, we haven't done a good job of informing this particular constituent about what we've been doing. My focus in Congress for the last 8.5 years has been on decreasing prescription drug prices. Remember, I practiced pharmacy for almost 40 years. I was the one who had to go to the counter and tell the senior citizen how much their medicine was and watch them make a decision between buying their medicine and buying their groceries. I was the one who had to go to the counter and tell the mother how much her antibiotic for her child was going to be and watch her in tears try to figure out how she was going to pay for it. That's why I made as my mission when I became a member of Congress to do something about drug pricing. And I have done just that. In fact, you ask anyone who is a member of Congress, whether it be in the Senate or in the House, who is trying to bring down prescription drug costs, and they will tell you it's me. I'm the one who has gotten the FTC to look into the practices of the pharmacy benefit managers, the PBMs, the middlemen who are causing prices to increase without bringing any kind of value whatsoever to the prescription drug market. That has been my mission in Congress. So to say that I haven't done anything, I think is ludicrous. I was the one I passed numerous bills that have helped bring down the price of drugs. I passed the gag clause. I got rid of it so that your pharmacist can tell you that if you pay cash for this medication, it will be cheaper than your copay. Before I did that, pharmacists could not tell you that. I'm the one who's got the bills right now and more transparency and lower drug cost bill that is it has passed through the Energy and Commerce Committee. I serve on the Health Subcommittee. So I have to say that we just have not done a good job with educating this gentleman as to what we've been doing in prescription drug costs.
Representative Carter, there's a story this morning about 10 drug makers agreeing to negotiate prices for 10 drugs under Medicare. This was an effort by the Biden administration. What do you think of that effort? I think
that is the most egregious piece of legislation that I have ever seen since I've been a member of Congress. This was part of the Inflation Reduction Act, the IRA. It wasn't really reduction, but nevertheless, that's what they called it. And this was the worst part of that legislation. And I will tell you, already the University of Chicago has said that this is going to result in 320 fewer cures coming to market in the next 20 years. Even the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, that is the nonpartisan economist in Congress that rates legislation for us, even they said that this legislation, that this prescription drug legislation will result in 10 fewer cures coming to market in the next decade. Now, what's that going to be the cure for? Is it going to be the cure for Alzheimer's? Is it going to be the cure for LAS? Is it going to be the cure for cancer? We don't know, but I can tell you that this is going to destroy research and development. I have seen nothing short of miracles in my practice of pharmacy as a result of research and development. This is awful. It is the worst piece of legislation that I have seen since I've been a member of Congress.
Well, the Biden administration making this effort, but you just spoke about how you want to see lower prescription drug prices. Wouldn't that do the same on your side, or at least the way you take? Wouldn't it affect R&D and other things?
We can ill afford to lower any prices at the risk of losing research and development. Look, when I started practicing pharmacy in 1980, if you were diagnosed with hepatitis C, you were going to die. Now you can take a pill and be cured. That is phenomenal. We can ill afford in this country to lose research and development. There are other ways that we can bring prescription drug prices down, not by holding these companies hostage like this is. And I've read that article in more than one publication, and I will tell you, it is so misleading saying that these companies have agreed to do this. No. In fact, there is a lawsuit right now that not only has drug companies, but also the Chamber of Commerce, the United States Chamber of Commerce has entered into it as well, that is suing this administration and HHS, saying that this is unconstitutional. And it is unconstitutional. They're going to win.
You are a Budget Committee member. We have a viewer off of Twitter who asks, because of what we're seeing as far as the speakership is concerned, will the budget get done in a timely manner, adding that kicking the can is getting old?
That's a good question, and we actually considered that in our committee. But we did our job. We got it. We passed the budget. Now it's up to leadership, whoever that's going to be in the near future, to decide whether they're going to put it on the floor or not. Our hope is that they will put it on the floor. We've got a plan. We have submitted a plan through the Budget Committee that will balance our budget within 10 years, save us trillions of dollars, and actually result in increased revenue and actually result in a positive balance at the end of that 10 years.
Representative Buddy Carter here for this conversation. Barbara in Florida, Republican line. Go ahead.
Well, thank you to C-SPAN. I used to listen a lot. Haven't listened for a couple of years, but I had to get on today to hear all the hullabaloo. I'm so thrilled about what Gates did. I am so thrilled. I'm 81. I'm 81, and I've been voting since I'm 21. And this is the best thing I've ever seen the Republicans do. I can't tell you what I put up with my congressman, Bill O'Rourke from Florida. I can't get anything from his office, but no, help the world, help everybody else, but forget about your constituents and what they want. There's a lot of things that Gates did that I'm not happy with, but he did something. He did something. I can't believe in 60 years. And so my birthday was on September 17th, which is the day the Constitution was signed in 1878. And I've always held that as a privilege of mine. But I can't tell you, everybody out there, and the Republicans moaning and groaning last night on TV, and the Republicans that I never expected to be moaning and groaning, you would have thought that they signed a death warrant or something. No, it's a change. Someone doing something. Someone speaking out.
Okay, thanks, caller.
Well, my response to that would be respectfully, I disagree about Kevin McCarthy. I think he has done a good job as Speaker. But to your point, look, it took 15 rounds for us to elect this Speaker, and it was not pretty. But at the same time, the net result was good because we got some good rule changes out of it. Single subject rule, doing the single appropriation bills, all of that was good. So the net result was good. My hope is that this is going to be the same way. I wish we could have avoided this, and I'm sorry to see this. I think Kevin has gotten a very raw deal, but at the same time, I still remain optimistic that we're going to be able to do this and to turn the ship around, and that good things are going to come out of this.
There's stories this morning, Representative, about rumblings by some about removing Representative Gates from the conference. Do you think this is a real thing, and could it happen?
Personally, I would hate to see that. Look, I don't agree with his antics. I don't agree with a lot of things that he does, but ours is a big tent. And you know, we do have a certain amount of independence in the Republican Party as opposed to being in the other party, as you pointed out earlier. And I think that that's one of the attractions of the Republican Party, is that we are a big tent, and we've got a lot of different thought processes in our conference. So you know, I hope it doesn't come down to that. I do feel very strongly that you know, we need to understand in Congress that, you know, if you're going to be wearing a hoodie, or if you're going to be pulling a fire alarm or airing personal grievances on the House floor, that maybe you shouldn't be in Congress. This isn't a playground. This is serious. Democracy is hard. It's hard. And we've got to be serious about it. Our country has got some great challenges. Look, I'm a father. I'm a grandfather. I want this country to sustain. I want it to continue on. That's why I'm up here fighting, and I will continue to fight.
Let's hear from Pennsylvania Democrats line. Ben, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Curious what the Republican position on lowering the cost of gasoline, with the understanding that oil is traded on the world market, and American oil producers have to sell their oil to the world market for it to come back here in the price of gasoline. I wait your response.
Well, that's why we passed H.R. 2, or excuse me, that's why we passed H.R. 1, which is lowering the energy cost. Look, I believe in climate change. I think it's real. I think it's cyclical, and I think that this rush to green is ridiculous, and that it's hurting our economy now. It's destroying our economy if we don't stop it. But I do believe that we should have clean energy. All of us want that. But I get so frustrated because being someone who believes in all of the above type energy strategy, fossil fuels have not gotten the credit that they deserve and that they should be taking. And I often tell them this: you guys haven't done a good enough job of letting the public know what you have done in decreasing carbon emissions. In the United States of America, in the last decade, we have decreased carbon emissions more than the next 12 countries in this world combined. That's important to note, and that shows you just how much the fossil fuel industry has done in improving carbon emissions. Now, specifically to your question about the price of gasoline, I was in Houston, I guess it was 3 weeks ago. The number one issue that the energy companies continue to tell me about is the permitting process, that it is just crushing their industry. And we've got to have permitting reform. We got a little bit of permitting reform in the Fiscal Responsibility Act and when we were negotiating in the debt ceiling, and some NEPA reform in that, but we've got to have a lot more. Right now, permitting is just destroying our economy.
Michigan is where Jessica is. Trenton, Michigan, line for independent our line for independence. This is for Representative Buddy Carter of Georgia. Jessica, good morning. Go ahead.
Well, hello and good morning. Hope y'all are having a great time. Representative Buddy Carter, I do specifically have a question for you, and also concerning the budget, right? Because that's really what got us into this mess. So considering the allocation of funds that has gone to something as big as Cop City, which is in the state of Georgia, and also considering the fact that your constituents have been, or not your constituents maybe, I don't know if you specifically oversee Atlanta, I will admit, but considering that the constituents of Atlanta have been very vocal about not wanting Cop City, why aren't we reallocating funds from these projects back into social services that directly help the people? Thank you so much. Hope y'all have a good morning.
If you will remember our commitment to America, we wanted to build an economy that's strong. We wanted to build a country that's safe. We can only have a safe country if we have law enforcement. And that's why in the Republican Party, we back the blue. We back our policemen. We back our emergency personnel. And I'm telling you, we need this development in Georgia. And I would disagree with you. I don't think that most people in Atlanta or in Georgia are opposed to this. In fact, I applaud the Attorney General, I applaud the governor for what they are doing to prosecute these people who were involved in criminal activity when they were protesting this. And this is something I feel very strongly about, and I'm very proud of my state and very proud of our leadership in our state for what they are doing to prosecute these people.
This is one more call from California. Pilar, Republican line. You've got about less than a minute to make your call, but go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you for taking my call. I have a question. What was the secret agreement that McCarthy did with Biden concerning the Ukraine deal?
There was no secret agreement. Kevin McCarthy has made that perfectly clear. That's the type of thing that got so many people in our conference upset with Matt Gaetz. And these kind of accusations that are unfounded, unsubstantiated, this is the type of thing that gets people upset. Kevin has said time and time again, no deal was made, and I believe him.
Representative Carter, then walk us through next week. How smooth of a process do you predict is going to happen in choosing the next speaker?
Well, I think that, as I said, next Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday night, we'll have presentations from those who are vying for that position. And then Wednesday, we'll have the vote for a new speaker. It's our hope, and even Kevin made this point during our conference after all this was over with last night. He said, let's make sure that the next speaker is elected on one ballot. So I hope that will be the case, and I'm looking forward to that.
Representative Buddy Carter, who serves the state of Georgia, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you.
You'll remember, if you watched yesterday's proceeding, that when the